Good morning. My name is Jim Andrews, and I'm the Deputy Director of the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. We're here today to kick off a special distracted driving campaign in Georgia. But before we do that, I want to thank you on behalf of Governor Nathan Deal and our Director Harris Blackwood for coming out in support of our mission. In addition to representatives from law enforcement, in distracted driving, and the Georgia Trial Lawyers Association, we have members of the Governor's Commission on Teen Driving in attendance. Their input has been vital in understanding the best way to reach our teen drivers. Now, today is April Fool's Day, but distracted driving in Georgia and nationwide is no joke. To help underscore that message, we have with us today Joel Feldman. Following the death of his daughter Casey by a distracted driver in 2009, Joel has become one of the leading advocates for safe, non-distracted driving in the United States. Joel is committed to raising awareness of the dangers of distracted driving. He regularly speaks with teens, college students, health professionals, and businesses about the dangers of distracted driving. Please join me in welcoming Joel Feldman to the podium. Joel, before I turn the podium over to you, I have a special proclamation here from Governor Nathan Deal, and I'll read a small portion of it for you. Whereas nearly 4,000 people are killed and another 421,000 injured each year as a result of distracted driving-related traffic crashes throughout the nation, and whereas in 2014 there was an estimated 8,581 distracted driving incidents in Georgia that resulted in 3,298 injuries and 19 deaths. Whereas the acts of text messaging while driving increases the risk of crashing 23 times, and whereas the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration reports that driving distracted is the primary cause of 18% of all fatal crashes. Therefore, I, Governor Nathan Deal, do hereby proclaim April 2015 as Distracted Drivers Awareness Month in Georgia. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
I'm going to give that to you.
Okay, I'm going to
hold
on to that if you could. Thank you, Deputy Director. I really appreciate the opportunity. I've been down to Georgia a number of times working with the Georgia Trial Lawyers, and there's no group around the country that's been more receptive to the message of going out and speaking with teens and saving teen lives. As the Deputy Director read from the proclamation from your governor, it is a big problem down here. Those are the statistics, those are the numbers, but I want to put a face on distracted driving. I want to personalize it if I can right now. This is a face of distracted driving. This is my daughter Casey. She was killed when she was 21 years old. She was walking across the street. It was a gorgeous summer's day. She was in the crosswalk, and a 58-year-old man decided to take his eyes off the road, and he hit her and he killed her. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult living without Casey. I'll give you an example. On the plane down here this morning from Philadelphia, I sat next to someone, and we just had casual conversation. And he said to me, "How many children do you have?" And the answer that I always give is, I have 2 children, but only one is still living. And he was kinder than most because he asked me about it. Many people will turn away. It's hard to comprehend the loss of a child, and I've had almost 6 years to do that now. And some of the things that I think about are, I'm alive, my child is dead, I have a future, she doesn't, and I have so many questions about why that happened that really will never be answered. So I want to talk about 3 things today. April is the first day of Distracted Driving Awareness Month. Georgia, through the actions of your governor, have adopted that. And I want to talk about 3 things. I want to talk about our own choices when we drive. I want to talk about what we're doing as moms and dads, as parents. And I also want to talk about what happens if you're in a car and you see someone else who's driving. These are 3 opportunities during the month of April to make a difference in terms of distracted driving. I drove distracted before my daughter was killed. It took her death for me to change the way I drive. I know that driving now is more of a responsibility than I thought it was before. I took it too casually. I make a choice every time I get in the car to drive distraction-free, and we can all do that. For many of you who are parents, we're not being good role models for our children. The teens that I've talked to in Georgia, the teens that I've talked to around the country, I ask them, how many of your moms and dads drive distracted? Probably 70 or 80% of the hands go up. 70 or 80% of the hands go up. And all the statistics and studies show that if you drive distracted, your teen is almost 3 times more likely to do so. So when parents ask me, what's the most important thing I can do to keep my child safe? I say, be the driver you want your teen to be. Do as I say, not as I do, is a really risky way to teach your child to drive safely. The other thing I say is, if you have driven distracted with your children in the car like I have, tell them today you're going to change the way that you drive. Tell them you're going to change the way you drive, ask for their help to keep you safer. Their lives depend on it. And when I go into schools, I'll ask the kids, I'll say, have you ever been driven by other distracted drivers? And of course it's mom and dad, but it's also their friends. How often will you speak up if your friend drives you distracted? They don't speak up very much at all. So part of our program with the Georgia trial lawyers, part of our program is to teach the kids so that they can speak up. Casey's favorite color was pink, so I have a pink wristband to remember Casey. I meet lots of parents around the country whose children have been killed through distracted driving, and they have different colors for their children. I'm going to show these to you now. These are all from moms and dads, mostly moms, and these are just the girls. They've been killed by others distracted driving, or sadly, they've been in accidents and they caused their own deaths. These are the boys. All of these families are like me. They're mourning the death of a child. Distracted driving is 100% preventable. And for the parents, I want to just leave you with this. Some of these moms and dads will ask me, do you think at the time my child was killed or died, do you think they were texting because they saw me doing it, their mom or dad? And that's an awful thing for anyone to have to think about. So again, I appreciate the opportunity. I so enjoy working with the Georgia trial lawyers and being able to get into schools throughout the state and save some teen lives. Thank you so very, very much.
Joel, we appreciate you and everything you do to promote this cause. I'm Lindley Jones. I'm president of the Georgia Trial Lawyers Association. And I want to share with y'all one of the saddest moments of my life. In 1986, I received a phone call I will never forget. The president of my sorority at Emory University, Kim, had been killed in a tragedy, a traffic tragedy. She was driving home for Thanksgiving break, and she was distracted, changing out CDs in the car. She went off the road just a little and overcorrected into the path of a tractor trailer. It was, sadly, a tragedy that was preventable. Distracted driving is not a new problem, but it is worse than ever before. We, the trial lawyers of your community, the members of the Georgia Trial Lawyers Association, hope that this proclamation declaring April as Distracted Driving Awareness Month will bring this issue to the attention of our citizens and save lives. We're grateful to Governor Nathan Deal. We're grateful to the Governor's Office of Highway Safety. We're grateful to Joel Feldman, the Casey Feldman Foundation, and EndDistractedDriving.org for everything they have done for this cause. And we, of course, are grateful to the members of the Georgia State Patrol who work these tragic collisions every day. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Governor, for this proclamation. And thank you, Georgia citizens, for paying special attention to your driving this month and throughout the year.
Good morning. My name is Trooper Crosscut. I work with the Georgia State Patrol in Metro Atlanta. I'd like to talk about distracted driving from the perspective of a law enforcement officer. In 1937, the Georgia State Patrol was created to keep the public safe in several capacities. Today, troopers patrolling Georgia's roads and highways perform these duties specifically related to distracted driving in two ways. Number one, troopers conduct investigations of traffic collisions. Number two, troopers conduct traffic enforcement efforts. Both of those capacities, as I said, are intended to keep drivers safe on the highways of this state. In relation to investigating traffic collisions, on a daily basis, troopers investigate these traffic collisions, and included in those traffic collisions are contributing factors related to distracted driving. That is to say that distracted driving plays a key role in a significant portion of the collisions that we investigate each day. These traffic crashes cause fatalities, serious injuries, and traffic delays. In relation to traffic enforcement, troopers conduct traffic stops and observe motorists in violation of Georgia laws that specifically are related to distracted driving. I'd like to mention three of those laws. Number one, the Georgia law that requires drivers to exercise due care as they operate their vehicle. Number two, the texting while driving laws that have been established as well. Number three, of course, and last but not least, the driving laws related to driving while impaired by drugs or alcohol. These are three issues that I mentioned because we see them on a daily basis. I can attest to that as I patrol the highways of this state. So I'd like to discuss the goal of our traffic enforcement efforts and how we can prevent distracted driving from being something that is bigger than we want it to be. First of all, the goal is for us as law enforcement officers, not just troopers, but also other law enforcement officers in the state, to generate voluntary compliance with the Georgia laws that have been established for the safety of motorists. The reason for that is simply to keep people safe while they're driving. So we can prevent these collisions by simply identifying and eliminating distractions before we even turn the key. I would encourage us all to be mindful that each time we drive our vehicle, we have the potential to cause harm to another motorist if we allow ourselves to be distracted. Thank you.
Before we close our program today, I just want to thank all of y'all for being here today. And I want to talk a little bit for just a second about a recent study that AAA's conducted, and the results have just been released. It found that distracted driving contributes to 58% of teen-driven crashes. With that, what I want to do is encourage each of you in some way to get involved. When we do this next year, we don't want your child's face to be the one that's here. If it's just logging on to Joel's website and looking at some of his videos, and trust me, I've done that over the past few weeks. He offers an approach to this that is unbelievable. He takes it from all sides. It's a great program. But please just get involved, and thank you all for being here, and have a great day. Thank you very much.